Okay, morning guys. Nice to meet you. Dr. Boris here. And today we're talking about the nervous system. Actually, it will be cranial nerves. So, everyone I know, but I have to remind you that nervous system, distinguished nervous system, two kind. Nervous system by topography, distinguish the central nervous system. It will be the brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system. It will be 12 cranial nerves, pair of cranial nerves, and 31 pair of spinal nerves, which make the plexus. Plexus cervicalis, plexus brachialis, plexus lumbalis, and plexus sacralis. Just the thoracic nerve have no any plexus. 12 pair, 12 from both sides, left and right. And by function, so distinguish two kinds of the nervous system. Somatical nervous system, it will be performed from motor and sensory function, connect the body from external environment. And autonomical nervous system, it's responsible for the metabolism and internal environment of the body, homeostasis. Autonomical nervous system have two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. It's antagonist. So today our theme, it's peripheral nervous system, but actually it will be cranial nerves. 12 pair of cranial nerves. So first of all, you have to know the place of exit this cranial nerves from the brain and from the skull, pass through the skull. So from the brain, you can see. So 12 cranial nerves, the name of this 12 cranial nerves. First, it will be this one, this information. First, it will be olfactory nerve, nervus olfactorius. Second, it's optic nerve, nervus opticus. Third, it will be nervus oculomotorius, oculomotor nerve. Number four, it will be trochlear nerve. 5, it's trigeminal nerve. 6, abducens nerve. 7, fascial, intermedio facialis actually. 8, it will be vestibular cochlear nerve. 9, it's a glossopharyngeal nerve. 10, vagus nerve. 11, accessory nerve, and 12, hypoglossal. So in this picture, you can see the place for exit from the skull, from the brain, sorry, these cranial nerves. Here you can see the olfactory nerves, part of olfactory. This one, it's optic crossing and optic tract. It's optic nerve. Number 3, it will be this one. It's oculomotor nerve. Number 4 and number 6, it will be this one, 4 and 6. The trochlear and abductor nerves, which innervate the muscle of eyeballs too. Number 5, it will be trigeminal nerve, this one, trigeminal. Number 7, it will be facial nerve here, the place between pons and the medulla oblongata. 8, here, vestibulocochlear nerve. In sulcus post centralis, it will be 9, 10, 11 cranial nerves, and in sulcus ventralis, it will be 12 cranial nerves. Nervus hypoglossus. Okay, so the place from exit or path to the skull. So you have to know that first cranial nerves, it's not visible here, first cranial nerves, ophthalmic, it's the smelling receptor pass through the lamina cribrosa os ethmoidalia in the skull. Cribriform plate of ethmoidal bone. Next, through canalis opticus pass the optic nerve. Through fissura orbitalis superior pass number 3, 4, 6, 3 oculomotorius, 4 trochlearis, 6 abducens, and first roots of the trigeminal nerve, nervus ophthalmicus. Through the foramen rotundum pass nervus maxillaris, through foramen ovale pass nervus mandibularis, second and third roots of trigeminal nerve. 7 cranial nerves pass through canalis facialis, and it will be porus acousticus internus. Canalis facialis start in porus acousticus internus and finish in foramen stylomastoidum, right? Okay, porus acousticus internus, it's entry for 8 cranial nerves too, vestibulocochlearis. 9, 10, 11, nervus glossopharyngeus, vagus, and accessorius pass through foramen jugular foramen. Through foramen jugulare pass the internal jugular vein too. And finally, through foramen nervus hypoglossus pass nervus hypoglossus. It's 12 cranial nerves. 12 cranial nerves. So this one, it's a real multipreparate. You can see in this region. So this number, it's number of the cranial nerves. Okay, so this one, it's a general picture about functional features of cranial nerves all together. So first cranial nerves, nervus olfactorius. It's responsible for your smelling, right? Start in the nasal cavity and finish in the brain, right? The second cranial nerves, nervus opticus. First, second set neurons start in the retina, right, in the eyeballs, and finish in the brains too, right? Responsible for our vision. Next, it will be number 3, 4, and 6. So oculomotorius, trochlearis, and abducens nerves, responsible for the moving of your eyeballs. Next, fifth cranial nerve, number 5, have 3 roots: ophthalmicus, maxillaris, mandibularis. So it's your sensory sensation of skin, the face, plus the last roots of trigeminal nerve, nervus mandibularis, have their motor portion. Motor, it's innervate the chewing muscle. Next, facial nerve. Facial nerve consists from the 2 nerves. It's actually called intermedio facialis. So just facial nerve innervate the mimical muscle. It's your muscle expression. moving of your face muscle, and nervus intermedius, responsible for the dividing for the two. It's a chorda tympani and nervus petrosus major, and innervate the nasal glands and their saliva glands, sublingual, submandibular, plus the taste, frontal tooth taste of the tongue. It's facial nerve. Number 8, nerves, right? Vestibulocochlearis. It's your hearing and equilibrium. Number 9, glossopharyngeus. It's sensory, innervate, sensory of the pharynx, plus one muscle, stylopharyngeus, and the parasympathetic part, it will be from this part, it's called nervus petrosus minor, which have the ganglion oticum and innervate it's parasympathetic innervate of parotid glands, greatest salivary glands. Now, number 10, it's nervus vagus. It's sensory parasympathetic innervate of the parasympathetic innervate of the whole organ of the thoracic and abdominal cavity except organ of the pelvic region. 11 here, accessorials. It's just motor innervates, just motor nerves, innervate two muscles, sternocleidomastoidus and trapezius. And number 12, hypoglossus, it's motor innervate, just motor innervate of muscle of the tongue, own muscle and skeletal muscle of the tongue. The same pictures, but the text, it will be inside, right? So actually, you can, if you hear my, when you hear my lecture, you can stop me, right? Stop my lecture and spell it this information, this one, this, in your copybook, in your notebook, where you want. Fine. Let's continue. So, it's a nucleus of the cranial nerves in the brainstem. Actually, you know this. The nucleus located in the brainstem, but have projection in the rhomboid fossa. Fossa rhomboid fossa. The blue, it will be sensory. The red one, it will be motor, right? Biggest one, blue, it will be the trigeminal nerve, this one. Consists from the 3 parts. This one, 31. It's a midbrain part. This one, 29. It will be main part, principal part of trigeminal nucleus, and this one, it's a spinal part of nucleus. This one, it's nucleus tractus solitary tract. It's the same nucleus for 7, 9, and 10 cranial nerves. Nucleus tractus solitary. What about the motor? This one, it will be nucleus ambiguous. It's the same nucleus, one nucleus for 9, 10, and 11 cranial nerves. Glossopharyngeus, vagus, and accessorius. So, between motor, sensory, and motor nucleus, we have the parasympathetic nucleus. This one, nucleus dorsalis nervus vagus. The main nucleus actually in whole body, right? Whole cranial nerves, because it's called center of life. Center of life. And abbreviature, it will be which is responsible for the HBB. It's like a baby, right? Honey. heartbeat, breathing, blood circulation. For this, responsible nucleus dorsalis nervus vagus. For better remount, so you can remount things like heartbeat, right? Okay. So this all full information about this picture, right? One more time, I repeat that you can stop my lecture and give it this note, take these notes in your notebook, copy book, right? Good. Let's continue. So this one, it's a first cranial nerve, nervus olfactory nerve. So here it will be nose, right? Like this one, nose. In the nose, in the matos nasi superior, just superior, located the olfactory cells, olfactory receptor. So through lamina cribrosa, this one, cribriform plate, or ethmoidal bone. So this receptor goes into the bulbus olfactory bulb. After this, it will be tractus olfactorius. Next, trigonum olfactorius, substantia perforata, perforated substance, anterior perforated substance, and finish this tract by three stria olfactoria mediale, intermediale, and laterale. So, finish in the hippocampus, cellula disseminata, and septum pellucidum, amygdaloid body here, right? And the hippocampus, uncus hippocampi, uncus hippocampi. Okay, so it's an archaeocerebrum. It's oldest brain, because we have oldest, old, and new brain. Right? New brain, it's a hemisphere. Old, it's a limbic system, which is responsible for the emotion, instinct, and all memory. And the oldest one of the best one, it was the olfactory nerve, olfactory brain. Next, other picture, it will be about the second nerve. It will be optic nerve. You can see first, second, and third neuron of this tract located in the retina. After this, we have a partly crossing the optic chiasm. Why partly? Because you can see by one left or right eye, both sides, left and right? And finish in the we have a reflex of vision and just right vision, normal vision, right? So reflex of vision located in the midbrain, colliculus superior, this one, colliculus superior. And normal vision, here, it will be sulcus calcarinus and cunus. It's occipital part of the brain, in the occipital region of the brain. Sulcus calcarinus, cunus. Next, our picture. It's an oculomotor nerve. So, oculomotor nerve innervates all muscle which moving the eyeballs except musculus obliquus superior, which innervate by nervus trochlearis. Let's start from this place. And musculus rectus lateralis, this one. Cut here. here, which innervate by nervus abducens. The rest one innervate by nervus oculomotorius, rest muscle which move in the eyeballs, included the parasympathetic innervate too. This one, parasympathetic, pointing line, right, on nuclei of Parley in Yakubovich, it's parasympathetic nucleus, and have parasympathetic ganglion, this oculomotor nerve, it's ganglion ciliare, and innervate this muscle, musculus sphincter papilla and musculus ciliaris, which nerve the papilla, sphincter papilla. Okay, so in this picture you can see it's like I said, which muscle innervate by nervus trochlearis, just nervus, it's a musculus obliquus superior, and nervus abducens, which innervate musculus lateralis oculi, abducens, right? Nervus abducens, rectus lateralis. This one, picture about trigeminal nerve. Trigeminal nerve. This trigeminal nerve, and distinguish three parts. First, it's nervus ophthalmicus. Next, nervus maxillaris, and next one, last one, it's nervus mandibularis. Mandibularis. I give it to you a few seconds for watching this picture. This one, it's all orbital nerves, right? You can see the eyeballs. It's demonstrate you the first roots of trigeminal nerve, nervus ophthalmicus. Ophthalmicus, which have the nerves which innervate the eyebrow, eyelash, the lacrimal gland, which produce the teeth, right? Then everything. So you can see this one for its ciliary nerve, ganglion ciliare, ciliary nerve. So this one, it's a ophthalmic nerve, innervate the eyeballs. So in this picture, in this prepared, histological prepared impregnation of silver nitrate, it will be ciliary node. Ciliary node. You can see the ciliary node, right? You can see the branch of oculomotor nerve and lower oblique muscle. You can watching the this one, oculomotor roots of ciliary nodes, right? You can watching the nasal roots of ciliary nodes. So things like this. Okay, this one, it's a second root of maxillary nerve. Of trigeminal nerve. It's called maxillary nerve, right? So you can see the maxillary nerve have a different branches. Branches for meninges, branches for teeth, right? So innervate of the upper teeth have the trigeminal nerve, nervus maxillaris, and we have different branches which innervate the frontal teeth and back teeth, but just in the upper part, in the upper jaw, because lower jaw innervate by nervus mandibularis. It's nervus alveolaris inferior, and in the lower jaw we have no different about this. In upper we have two different branches for the front teeth and for the back teeth, right? but just in the upper part. Here in this picture, you can see ganglion pterigopalatinum, actually. Until I know too, because it's part of the nervus olfactorius, oh, ophthalmicus, sorry, ophthalmicus. First roots of trigeminal nerve. It's all full information about this. So it's innervation of the palate. You can see the first through. Here we have nasopalatine nerve, and through foramen palatini major and foramen palatini minor pass the greater palatine nerves and lesser palatine nerves. This one is soft palate, but this one is a hard palate. So this you can see the sad roots of the trigeminal nerves. It's called mandibular nerves. Mandibular nerves. It's a mixed actually, because actually in general the trigeminal nerve it's just sensory, right? Innervate the skin of their face and goes under the skin through this opening in the skull. Nervus ophthalmicus goes through foramen supraorbitale, nervus maxillaris goes through foramen infraorbitale, and through foramen mentale, this one, foramen mentale, goes nervus mandibularis, and region of skin innervate things like this: nervus ophthalmicus, nervus maxillaris, and here nervus mandibularis. Since, like I said, innervate of their lower teeth goes through the nervus mandibularis, which have the same name channel, nervus canalis mandibularis, which start located in the lower jaw, right, and in mandibular, and start in foramen mandibulare here, and finish in foramen mentale. And another roots of mandibular nerve, it will be motor roots, which innervate their chewing muscle. It's temporal muscle and musculus masseter, chewing muscle. So it's mandibular nerve in view from medial side. Here you can see trigeminal ganglion. I forget about this. Said to you that trigeminal nerve have biggest sensory ganglion. It's ganglion called trigeminal ganglion. Okay, so it's submandibular nodes. Submandibular nodes here. But actually, I give it to you this information a little bit later when we take the intermediate facial nerve. So in this picture, you can see submandibular salivary glands and sublingual salivary glands. And here, actually, it must be parotid glands. It's 3 greater salivary glands. You know this, right? 3 greater salivary glands and lesser salivary glands. It's in the lips salivary glands, in the cheek, in the nose. So it's in the palate, it's lesser salivary glands. Okay, so let's start for one of the hardest and biggest cranial nerves. It's a facial nerve, and actually it's called intermedio facialis. Why this? Because facial innervates just muscle, mimical muscle. Intermedial innervate the tongue, taste, parasympathetic innervate of the salivary glands. Okay, so first of all, facial nerve, just facial, right? Just facial, yes. Oh, this one. It's start from the nucleus nervus facialis, motor nerve, motor nucleus, goes through the canalis facialis, which start in the porus acousticus internus and finish in foramen stylomastoidum. After this, have the five roots which innervate the muscle, mimical muscle of the neck, of the face, right? And finish these branches in the muscle of expression. So, what is special about the mimical muscle? Mimical muscle have no fascia. What does it mean? It means that fixed this mimical muscle to the skin. That's why all moving of mimical muscle you can see, right? You know this. We have muscle of surprise, right? This one, behind so muscle surprise. Here, musculus procer, muscles of pride, right? Here, it's musculus curvator supercili, muscle of angry, right? Here, musculus mentalis, muscle of sorrow, sad muscle, right? Check muscle, showing, so it will be muscle of the trumber, right? Here, risorius, muscle of the smile. So it's mimical muscle. You can see it's mimical muscle, all moving of mimical muscle because they have no fascia and join with the skin. So another part of facial nerve, it will be intermedius nerve. Intermedius have two parts. So first, it will be a nervus petrosus major. Start from nucleus salivatorius superior, come into the canalis opticus through foramen caroticum internus, but entry out from the fissura pterygomaxillaris, goes through the canalis pterygoidus and finish in this one in the pterygoid nodes. It's nodulus or ganglion pterygoidum. From this ganglion start innervate the nasal, lacrimal, and palatal glands. So it's nervus petrosus major, function of nervus petrosus major. And last part of intermedial nerve, intermedial part of intermedial facialis nerve, it will be horda tympani, which start from the nucleus tractus solitari, which same for the cranial nerves number 7, 9, and 10. Okay, start here. Have two parts. So one part, it will be sensory part, and another one, it's a parasympathetic part. Sensory part, it innervates taste of the tongue, but just frontal two set taste of the tongue. Because back one set taste of the tongue, innervated by nervus glossopharyngeus, part of glossopharyngeus nerve. And parasympathetic part, this one, this parasympathetic, it's innervates the salivary glands, all salivary glands except parotid glands. So what does it mean? It's innervates less salivary glands and two big salivary glands, glandula submandibular and glandula sublingualis. Parotid glands not innervated by nervus facialis, because innervate the part of glossopharyngeus nerve. So we finish about the information about facial nerve. Oh, it's a picture about pterygopalatine nodes. Ganglion pterygopalatinum. Since, like I said, nervus petrosus minor finish in this ganglion. Nervus petrosus minor. So this it's picture about nasal branches of pterygopalatine nodes. It's things like we from the internal side of the nasal cavity. You can see the nasal cavity, concham matus superior, medial, inferior, own bones, right? And matus nasal superior, medial, inferior. In matus nasal superior, since like I said, you can see the smelling receptor located. This one, it's a lamina fibrosa, right? Okay. Ganglion pterygopalatinum. So this picture I give it to you for better reminded, situated of this pterygopalatin ganglion. Where is pterygopalatin ganglion located? In the human skull. Okay, next our cranial nerves, it will be vestibulocochlearis, nervus vestibulocochlearis, vestibulocochlear nerve. You can see this one now because it is sent. It's a facial, but this one. You can see this one, it will be vestibularis, nervus vestibularis, vestibular ganglion. This one, ganglion spiralis, ganglion spiralis. It's a cochlear nerve. So it's your hearing. This one, your equilibrium. Hearing and equilibrium. It's an internal ear, right? How many ears you have? Not two, left and right, but have external, middle, internal. External and middle divided each other through the malleolus and stapes, and the middle and internal by the obermendo, right, the foramen, and here it's cochlear and sublunar channel, 3 sublunar channel. It's your equilibrium, it's your hearing. It's a sensory ganglion, cochlear ganglion, vestibular ganglion. Good. So it's a picture about plexus parotideus or the facial nerve. Facial nerve. You can see the over the parotid gland located the root of facial nerve. Pass through the parotid gland, but not innervate this parotid gland, because parotid gland have parasympathetic innervates for produce the salivary and innervate by nervus glossopharyngeus, nervus petrosus minor. It's a part of glossopharyngeal nerve. So in the last picture, we have actually even the 3-rater diagram here. And here you can see the branches, temporal branches, branches of the facial nerve, the temporal branches, zygomatic branches, buccal branches, neck branches, collar branches. So 5 branches of facial nerve. In these 2 pictures, we have a difference of structure facial nerve. In the first pictures, it will be neck structure. In the last one, it will be magister structure, right? You can see the difference. This one, picture about glossopharyngeal nerve. It's a mixed nerve too, mixed nerve. Have three parts, right? First, it's a motor part. This one, you can see. Start from the nucleus ambiguous. It's a one nucleus, single nucleus for three cranial nerves. Glossopharyngeal 9, vagus 10, accessories 11. Right. And the innervate just one muscle, this one, stylopharyngeal muscle. Sensory part of glossopharyngeal nerve. It will be sensory part. Innervate the back wall of the pharynx, right? And start from the nucleus tractus solitari. It's a one nucleus for 7, 9, 10 cranial nerves. And finally, since like I said, nucleus salivatorius inferior. From nucleus salivatorius inferior, start the small pectoral nerve, nervus petrosus minor here, and finish in ganglion oticum. It's innervate parotic glands, salivary glands, greater salivary glands, but just parasympathetic innervate, salivary, produce salivary. So remember that your saliva and teeth produce, it's just parasympathetic innervate. Next, one of the biggest nerve, it will be nervus vagus. Have the three-part too, right? Sensory, motor, and parasympathetic. Sensory start from the nucleus tractus solitari, innervate the back wall of the pharynx, seems like a glossopharyngeal nerve. Motor, innervate from ambiguous nerve, the same situation. And since, like I said, you can see here, one, it's a nucleus dorsalis nervus vagus. It's a center of life, right? In the start of the lecture, I give it to you this information. So it's a HBB, heart beating, blood circulation, and breathing, responsible for this. And nervus vagus innervates all organs of the thoracic and abdominal cavity except organ of pelvic region. In this picture, pretty good visible, right? 10 cranial nerves. You can see there. Cardiac plexus, the pulmonary plexus, the esophagus plexus, right? Stomach, spleen, kidney, intestine, right? All of this innervate, all of these organs innervate by nervus vagus, and nervus vagus have near 2,000 ganglion, parasympathetic ganglion, in a whole body, whole internal organ in the thoracic region and pelvic and abdominal region, except the pelvic one. So it's a laryngeal nerve, kind of laryngeal nerve, right? So I mean it's in a pretty good visible laryngeal nerve, supralaryngeal nerve right here. It's internal branch. Another branch. This one it's a recurrence laryngeal nerve, innervate of the larynx, muscle of the larynx. So it's 11 cranial nerves. Starts from nucleus ambiguous, right? And you can see two parts. One part from the brain, another part from the spinal cord here, the spinal cord too. This is brain stem. And innervate its muscle, its motor nerve, motor. It's innervate just two muscle, sternocleidomastoidus and trapezius. That's all. And last, our cranial nerves, it's a hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal. start from the own nucleus of hypoglossal nerve, nucleus motorius nervus hypoglossi, pass through the canalis nervus hypoglossi, and it's just motor innervate the own muscle of the tongue and skeletal muscle of the tongue. Own muscle, it's a longitudinal superior, longitudinal inferior, transverse muscle of the tongue, and the skeletal muscle of the tongue. It will be geniohyoidus muscle, right? It will be hyoglossal muscle. It will be sublingual muscle. This one, it's a styloglossus muscle. So all muscle, skeletal muscle of the tongue. And actually the roots, one of the roots innervate pterygohyoid muscle. The rest muscle, infrahyoid and the hyoid bone, innervate by motor roots of the cervical plexus. Okay, and the last my information for today, it's actual picture about just autonomical nodes, autonomical ganglion. Autonomic ganglion, it's parasympathetic ganglion. But I give you information about the all ganglion, which have their cranial nerves. So, which the parasympathetic ganglion? Now, first, ganglion ciliare, made by said cranial nerves. Next, ganglion oticum. It's made by 9 cranial nerves, right? Visible here or not? This one. Next, ganglion pterygomandibulare. This, number 5. Pterygopalatinum, sorry. Ganglion pterygopalatinum, made by nervus petrosus major. It's part of the 7 cranial nerves. Ganglion submandibulare. It's here finished parasympathetic part of chorda tympani. It's a part of nervus intermedio facialis, 7 cranial nerves. And finally, the 2000 ganglion of the nervus vagus, parasympathetic ganglion. So it's autonomous nodes, parasympathetic ganglion. And cranial nerves have their sensory ganglion too. Sensory. So first, it will be ganglion trigeminale in this place, trigeminal nerve, right? Ganglion trigeminalis is, like I said, biggest one. Next, ganglion superior and inferior, it's glossopharyngeal nerve. And ganglion superior and inferior, it's nervus vagus, the same one, right? The same names. It's sensory ganglion too. Sensory ganglion. This one, it's visible, the upper cervical nodes of sympathetic trunk. So it's all information about the ganglion which made by the cranial nerves. So we have no motor ganglion, but we have just sensory and parasympathetic ganglion. And this one, it's a picture, one of the first pictures of the Frank Netter, you know this, author, about the Russian anatomy, right? So it's special features, right, of every cranial nerves, olfactory nerves, opticus, oculomotorius, trochlearis, trigeminal, right? 7 cranial nerves, facial nerves, vestibulocochlear nerves, This one, it will be glossopharyngeal nerves, vagus, right? It's 11 cranial nerves, accessories nerves, and 12, it's a hypoglossal nerve. So I thank you for your attention, guys, and wish you good luck and good health. Bye, guys.